Hello everyone, this is author, motivational speaker, and dating coach Matthew C. Horne. And I have a video for you tonight titled, How Sex Symbol Men Move in a Sea of Women. I got one for you tonight. But before we go any further, always know my videos in the dating space, they're inspired by my books, How to Get Beautiful Women and Everything Else You Want from Life. In addition to How to Be Appealing to Successful Black Men for Black Women. They're both available on my website, www.matthewchorne.com. Get your copies. And don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And to continue to push me the algorithm so I can continue to bring you these elevated messages. But let's get right to it. How sex symbol men move in a sea of women. And let me just get down to the bottom of what a sex symbol is, right? Because I don't want men calling themselves sex symbols and they haven't really graduated to that yet. So let me talk about the reality of what dictates what a sex symbol is. A sex symbol is not a proclamation. It's not something that you claim about yourself. It's a designation. It's experiences have to designate that you've graduated to the level of being a sex symbol. And what is a sex symbol? A sex symbol is a man that a multitude of women look at and desire nothing but to have sex with him. That's their first instinct because he has that much sex appeal that he's a literal sex symbol, that women want to experience him sexually and they're not thinking about anything else when they meet this guy. That's a sex symbol right there. And so, as a sex symbol, naturally, the sea of women that surround you will only be women that have high levels of sexual energy and interest towards you. That's it. Because you're having so many experiences with so many women being that sexually attracted to you, that sex is happening instantly and it's their idea, that your tolerance is only for women who mirror your everyday and regular experiences with women. Meaning that if a woman brings neutral energy to you, she's dismissed. Because every woman that you deal with, the sea of women that surrounds you, they all have to be captivated with you as soon as they see you. Or they cannot be entertained by you. If that's your regular experience. And so that's the natural graduation into the designation as a sex symbol, is that your tolerance changes because your experiences change. Meaning more women view you and their only thought and instinct is to immediately have sex with you. Sex is their idea. That's why I say they offer themselves to you. That's why they have a red beam of lust in their eyes, because their reality is suspended. Okay. And so no neutral energy is present in the space of a sex symbol man. If he has a sea of women, a collection of women, there's no neutral energy. Every woman looks at him and says, I have to have him. And those are the women that can get into your space and remain in your space if you decide to keep him there. That's a true sex symbol man right there. That's why you're in an alternate universe and in an alternate reality to most men. And it doesn't make sense for you to be around most men because your realities are too different. And then that's just what it comes down to. But let's talk about this neutral energy and this decisive energy, right? So I'll just take you back, about 12 years ago or so. And it was a girl I had been involved with for, a few years, like on and off. I had girlfriends, multiple girlfriends since I met this girl and this and that. And, we just would kind of reconnect somehow, see each other. It would just happen, So I happened to see her and, we just, ended up talking. I went up to her job. She was a bartender. And then she ended up going back to my place. And I mean, we got to it, man. That's that early 30s Matthew C. Horne drinking that beet juice, man. I murdered that girl, man. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, it was a good experience, man. And so I guess she tried to, rekindle the thing, right? So she, maybe a day or so later, she hit me up to come and meet her out in DC. And I hadn't eaten yet. I was on my routine, my business owner thing. I've been doing that. So I couldn't just immediately meet up with her. But I did tell her that, she could come by. And since she couldn't, have me out and show me off and all that other stuff, she didn't want to come by. And I could give a fuck. Because when you're a sex symbol man, you're swimming in a sea of women, right? So I ended up, making my way out to DC that night. And I ran into her. And I was with one of my homeboys. And he told me it was this girl looking at me, but I mean, she was kind of like moving around the spot and I couldn't really see her. So long story short, the girl that blew me off that night She invited me out, and then she didn't want to come over to my place and all this other stuff. I ended up running into her. She has some friends, and of course, she can't pass the opportunity to show me off. So, she kind of motions me over, and I say, "Hey, what's up?" to her, and she's like, introduced me to her friends, and my boy taps me, and he's like, "Yeah, that's the girl right there." And I didn't want to be rude to her friends or anything like that, but this girl was young, she was gorgeous, and obviously, she was decisive because she couldn't take her eyes off of me, and my boy had to point her out twice. So the girl that played with me with the neutral energy, I just abandoned her and her friends. It was nothing rude. I just had to get at the other girl, and she felt the way about it. And she ended up saying later on, like, "Oh, you just mad because I blew you off, and how could you get mad at me if I blew her off and she blew me off first?" But that's just female logic, man. You can't put your emotions in that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Female logic. So I ended up stepping off from her and her friends, and I might have just said a quick "nice to meet you" or something like that. But she was expecting me to stick around so she could show me off and act like we're something. And you know how girls do when they're in the presence of a sex symbol. So I ended up going to talk to the girls. We went to another room up in the club, and she just took a look at me. We exchanged numbers, and she was like, "Yeah, just find me by the end of the night." She made her mind up that we were just going to go and have sex, and that's the reality of a sex symbol right there. That's why you can't tolerate indifference, neutrality, and energy. It's just not natural, because what's coming to you on a consistent basis is women offering themselves to you. Your tolerance always reveals your options, always. So I ended up meeting another girl after her, and this girl was really attracted to me as well. And this was towards the end of the night. But then the other girl, the one that told me, find her at the end of the night, I think she ended up like texting me or something. And I went and found her up in the spot. And then we left together. We stopped, got something to eat real quick. I threw it in my car. She followed me back to my place. And you know how that story ends, man. So a sex symbol man naturally, always, is going to choose decisive energy over neutrality and indecision. See, indecision is reserved for men who are not attracted to themselves. Men who have not developed themselves into men that women can desire on a consistent basis in a sexual manner. That's what indecision, those type of women are reserved for, because they can play around with those men because those men are not taking themselves seriously. And you might say, well, I might not graduate to a sex symbol. And I'll be honest with you, I believe there's a sex symbol inside of every man. Let's just say God didn't give you the most attractive face, right? But you can build your physique to a point where women can look at you and say, "Oh, I have to have him. Oh, he looks rugged. Oh, I can just imagine the things that he'll do to me." See, the thing is, with becoming a sex symbol, you have to accept the hand that you were dealt. And if you maximize whatever hand that you were dealt, there's something abnormal for you at the end of that journey. And it's abnormal because you have to put an obsessive amount of energy into improving yourself if you want this abnormal outcome. It's not normal for women to look at a man and her reality is suspended, and she says internally, "I have to have sex with him." That's not normal. And so if you want an abnormal reality and response from women, you have to do some obsessive levels of work on yourself. And so I do believe there's a sex symbol inside of every man. I do believe you can push the boundaries of whatever you've been offered, through whatever hand that you were dealt in life, your gifts, your talents, your abilities, your appearance, your height, your build, your genetics. That's your hand. And if you maximize that hand, then you're going to have maximum sex appeal. But the men who doubt themselves are the men who they're not willing to implement a level of obsessive energy into creating the change to have the experiences that they truly desire. That's what a sex symbol exists on, the spectrum of obsessive energy, obsessive work. That's all that is, man. So I wanted to bring that to light. But the sex symbol man, he doesn't dwell in the middle. He doesn't deal with neutral attraction, neutral anything. It's all or nothing. It's all or nothing. Either you're extremely sexually attracted to me or you have to get it gone, because there's so many experiences that show that this is your level. and the experiences compound, so your perception of yourself never changes because it's constant, because you've developed. When you become something, you're constantly getting a return on whatever you've evolved into, and that you can't unsee. When you become something, you're constantly getting a return on the level that you've evolved into. You're going to see some things on a consistent basis that you cannot unsee. That's true personal evolution right there. And that's true graduation and designation as a sex symbol. And so when you become a sex symbol, there's a completely other side of women that you access. Women will not disrespect you by talking anything other than sex with you when you're a sex symbol. When they encounter you, you're out in the nightlife, women automatically talk sexually to you. They've been curving other guys, telling other guys they have a boyfriend and all that kind of stuff, but they're just going to talk sexual to you because there's no other way to talk to a sex symbol man other than sexual, because that's her biological stimulation that is involuntary, that's being stimulated right there on the spot. It's involuntary. It's out of her control. And so that's why the words that she utters words out of her mouth. Every other man that she deals with, those words are planned because those words are meant to get the invisible men out of her space so she can be visible to the man that she left the house to meet. Her words are calculated with men who aren't attracted. Okay? And then her words are involuntarily given to men that she's attracted to, because this is why she left the house. There's a place that she'll speak to you from that's only designated for attractive men. And when I talk about the sea of women, let's visit the nightlife, right? So you can be out up in a club or something like that, right? And there's three types of women you're going to deal with. There's three scenarios of how you're going to meet women as a sex symbol. All right. The first scenario is the woman is giving you the look of death, or she just can't keep her eyes off of you. And then there's an invitation to approach her. I guess, that would be a warm approach if I'm going to use some red pill language and some shit like that, man. The woman is already giving you sex with her eyes, and she's telling you to come over here and get it. She's unsuspended with her gaze because she's in an alternate universe and you're the man that she came out of the house to meet. So that's the first scenario right there. The second scenario is that a woman is just going to approach you because she understands the level of attractiveness that she has to you, and she doesn't want to miss her opportunity, meaning she can smell the scent of other women on you, even without checking your blind spots. When you reach a certain level of attractiveness, other women desiring you and taking you away from her that evening is implicit. It's understood. So she has to see if she can have her optimized experience for the night. That means she'll approach you. Okay? So we have the invitation with the eyes, and then secondly, the woman will approach you. And thirdly, you will approach women who haven't even been looking at you because you're so used to having favorable responses from women when they finally see you. It's the same red beam of lust. See, that's why a sex symbol man, everything's the same to him. He doesn't mind a woman giving him an invitation with her eyes and he steps over there. He doesn't mind a woman stepping to him and initiating a sexual situation. And he doesn't mind, quote unquote, cold approaching, because he knows that there's a universal look in a woman's eyes most of the times when they look at this man and they see him. It's a red beam of lust. It's a uniform look, regardless of how it comes about. So any way that facilitates it coming about, he's not going to abandon it. And that's why I know a lot of men are full of shit when they say that they don't cold approach. Because the cold approaching for a sex symbol man has gotten him threesomes, has gotten him sex within minutes after meeting women. So it's another avenue. It's just another avenue that avails you to the outcomes that you're traditionally used to experiencing and consistently used to experiencing. And see, a lot of men, a woman will never step to see, a lot of men have never had the experience of a woman approaching them in a sexual manner because there's no visible threats to the woman. And let me explain that. I made a video, maybe a couple years ago at this point, because she's checking your blind spots and assessing your value. When a woman is checking your blind spots and you're up in a nice spot, then what's going to happen is that she's going to see viable threats to her. When women communicate and they communicate amongst each other in ways that we would never be able to tap into or decipher or see with the naked eye. So women will see other women checking you out that you're oblivious to. So women are always sizing you up in your levels of attractiveness. And so that's what compels a woman to step to you. It's because she's seeing the women that are in your blind spots that you're blind to checking you out. And she's seeing a level of lust coming from other women to the point that she's compelled to step up and make sure that she has her turn. That's why women approach sex and women, they want their turn. They don't mind sharing him. They don't mind having a one night stand with him. They're not even going to be upset about it because they had their turn. And that's what women do with sex symbol men, is they wait their turn. I'll go back to that story, up in that spot that night, and how after the girl told me, just find me at the end of the night, like she was just basically so, oh, I don't need to look any further. Like she probably was there with some friends and just didn't want to abandon the night. And she was just like, yeah, just find me at the end of the night. And she made sure that we found each other. And we went back to my place and, we did what we did. We got to it. But the third girl, the other girl that I met, she was calling me that night too. But I was already with somebody. And so she had to wait. And she had to wait until, 2 or 3 days later, she had to wait her turn. And that's what it is for a sex symbol man. That's how you navigate the sea of women, is they have to wait their turn. And they're fine waiting their turn. And if a woman gives you any energy of neutrality, indifference, games, hoops, as a sex symbol man, you laugh at that. It naturally cannot find its way into your world because you're inundated with women that are offering themselves to you. That's how you know you're a sex symbol. And it's okay if you're not that. But it's not okay if that's something that you want to be and you're not obsessively working to become that. That's what this is really about. And so I'll tell you, some other scenarios, right? I was up in a nice spot. And this was, I would say, about a year and a half ago. And there was a spot I would go to. You know how they got the pretty girls that work in nightlife, and they test them out, and some of them don't make it. What I'm saying? She was one of those girls. So she was kind of a new face up in the spot. And I saw her, tall, red bone. You already know if you listen to my videos, that's what I like. And I saw her and I just started talking to her and this and that. And she was interested, but she still was like working, and she had a tab in her hand. I guess she was tallying up like some numbers and this and that. But I didn't feel the strongest energy coming from her. And so I made a mistake because I was talking to her and I was kind of like in close proximity to her. And there was another girl waiting for me to have any inch of daylight to say something to me. So I just remember she stepped up and she tapped me. And she's like, oh, you're so handsome and all this other stuff. And the only issue was I was fixated on this girl. She was more attractive than the girl who tapped me. But the girl who tapped me was willing to give me a better experience than this girl who I was feeling neutral energy from. That's why I say the natural inclination of a sex symbol man is to do away with neutral energy and just, go where the high energy of attraction actually exists. That decisive energy. And so that girl was decisive. And then I just kind of I was like, thank you. And I went back to, talking to the other girl. And then I felt like the energy wasn't quite there, but she was still entertaining me. Like she was attracted to me. And then at the end of that interaction, I asked her for a number and she offered me her Instagram. And I was just like, nah, I'm good. And I don't do Instagrams. And I was a little buzzed, now I think about it, because I can remember exactly what I said to you. I said, I'm too sexy for that. I told her, I was like, nah, I'm way too sexy for Instagram. Yeah, that's what I told her. I mean, because, it was just like right in her face. Another chick, and this wasn't an unattractive chick. That's just straight step to me right in her face. It was like, oh, you're so handsome and this and that. But I guess she's in her own world thinking she's a bad joint, thinking I'm going to eat some scraps and take her Instagram. I was like, no, I'm way too sexy for that. You know that. And I just walked off. And every time I saw her after that, I never said another word to her. But that's the thing with the sex symbol, man, is that women will wait their turn. That's how you really move in the sea of women, is that women are going to wait their turn. But naturally, as a sex symbol man, you're going to give a turn to most women who are willing to wait their turn. And waiting their turn means that they're in full recognition of who you are. They're very attracted to you. You might not be able to get to them right then and there. And all they really want is at least one experience with you if you're a sex symbol. You're an object. You're an object of desire. You're an object of admiration. You're an object of lust. And so women want to have their turn when a man is an object. Women want to have their turn when a man is an object. And so you essentially allow women to fulfill their fantasy. If they act right, if they can wait their turn, if they're showing up in your life the right way, they're showing up in your space the right way, they're respectful. I mean, you're decently, attracted to them enough. As a sex symbol man, you might, these are the type of women, you might just have sex with them like once and everybody's satisfied because she got a chance to experience her fantasy and fulfill her fantasy. That's how they do in the space of the rare commodity of the sex symbol man. They just want to experience their fantasy at least once. They're satisfied. They don't care if it's a one night stand. They got a chance to experience you, and they'll wait their turn. And that's how you navigate, the sea of women as a sex symbol man. They'll wait their turn. And I'll just end it with this last story. Yeah, there was a woman. She was visiting DC, and I told this story probably a year or so ago, but it's relevant, to the topic. So this woman was visiting DC, and I stepped to her. I was out on Connecticut Ave. I stepped to her. Red bone chick sitting down. I guess her friends were somewhere nearby. She just thanked me. She's like, "You're the first man to approach me tonight," and all this other stuff. And you know, we just I kind of took her away from everybody, and we were talking. And she wasn't trying to roll with me, but the next day she kept hitting me up, and she was staying like not too far away from me. And I could tell she was trying to finesse me, get her to come out there and take her to lunch and all that kind of unnecessary stuff. And she was staying far away from everything anyway. If I live, I'm not gonna say, but I'm close to the action, like DC and all that stuff, man. So anyway, I pretty much wrote this chick off, man. But she begged the hell out of me to see me, and her and her girls like, "Oh, we need something to do in DC and this and that," and I had pull, so took them up in Marvin's. Remember, once again, I don't say the name of the club unless it's closed. So I took her up in Marvin's and got her and the girls in and all that stuff. And I just basically told her, like, "Look, man, are you coming home with me tonight or what? Because like you have such intolerance as a sex symbol man that you're not there to play because there's so many other women that want to get at you, especially when you're in your prime, 38. None of these should be your experiences. And if these are not your experiences, you need to hit me up for coaching." So she was just more so neutral, like, "Yeah, I think about it," and all this other stuff. So I stepped off and immediately talked to a prettier chick than her, taller, prettier. I mean, a bad chick, and she got so disgusted. She came up, she came up to me and stepped in between me and the girl. And I was just like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Well, I came here to see you and all this other stuff." And see, they'll compete for you. When you're a sex symbol man, they're going to compete for you. The same beautiful woman that talks about, "Oh, I have a boyfriend, I don't give my number out, take my Instagram," they'll compete for the sex symbol man. And so I just kind of stepped away. It was like, "Look, man, you already know. Like, I told you what time it is. You acting like you don't know if you want to do it or not, and this and that." So then she straightened up. So, we were able to kind of smooth things out a little bit, but she was just really there to conquer me. And I'll tell you, you'll see how the story ends, right? So I stepped back to the other girl. The other girl gave me her number. And then another girl stepped up. She was waiting her turn. Another girl stepped up and she just gave me her number because she saw me dealing with so many women. She probably saw that whole little skirmish of the girl coming over and interrupting me talking to the other girl. Like, she was witnessing everything. And that shit was making her pussy wet. And so she came over to me and she made it quick. She was like, "Yeah, take my number. And whenever you're finished doing whatever you're doing, you call me." So she basically was like, you're going to fuck one of these girls, but just call me when you're done so you can fuck me too. That's the reality of a sex symbol, man. And if a man is masquerading as a sex symbol and he has a level of tolerance for disrespect, and he'll rationalize disrespect and indifference and low interest from women, he's really not a sex symbol. He's masquerading because there's a natural intolerance for women who are not giving you the experience that you want when you're truly a sex symbol. And so that girl, she told me to just, hit her up whenever I was done. And I know what that meant. She knew what that meant. And I went and talked to another girl. And the other girl was just, beautiful chick, man. Like that night, it was just, I was in the sea of women. And this is how you navigate the sea of women as a sex symbol. You holler at all of them and you stay in their presence. If there's real energy present and nothing neutral, if there's decisive energy present, I'm bouncing around from girl to girl. Every girl is basically like, I'll have sex with you. I'll have sex with you. That's how it's supposed to be as a sex symbol man. So you have a natural intolerance for anything that's not highly decisive, lustful energy from any woman, because that's reserved for you. How do you know it's reserved for you? Because it's your consistent experience. And so the night comes to an end. And oh yeah, let me get back to the other girl. So the last girl I talked to, she had some friends in town, and she's like, listen, man, if they weren't in town, you already know what we would be doing. So that's what I'm saying. When you're a sex symbol, women don't waste their time talking anything other than sex to you as soon as they meet you. It's a respect. When you get to a certain level of attractiveness, it's don't think I'm not attracted to you. That's what women say. When women introduce sex to you, it's a validation of their attraction to you. It's a semblance of respect that they give to you to let you know that they respect you as the man that you are, a sex symbol. I'm not going to talk any other language that does not coincide with the man that you've ascended into, the man that is right in front of me, this magnitude of a man. So when you become sex, what a sex symbol is, that man becomes sex because that's all women think about when they see this man. And so she says, oh man, if my friends weren't in town, you already know what we'd be doing. So I got one girl pump faking and three other girls, one girl sneaking in, talking about have sex with me after you decide which one of these other girls you want to have sex with. And then the other girl, the fourth girl. Oh man, you already know what we be doing. None of those women said anything other than sex to me. And that's how you know you're a sex symbol. So all these men out here masquerading, you know, all the motherfuckers I done had to fall outs with, it's because they masquerading and they hate to be in the presence of something that they've never seen before. They never seen the shit that makes, a lot of my quote unquote former boys hate me the most are these scenarios right there, that they're within eye shot of seeing this shit. And then so just to end this, so the one girl, that kind of like caused the argument and this and that, I should have never even, you know, acquiesced to her begging and all this other stuff. I knew that she's from out of town. And if she didn't let me hit it that first night, it was no reason for me to even talk to her. And then her goal was just to conquer me. So we get back to my place. She decided to leave with me. She says bye to her friends and all this other stuff. And, she asked for some shorts and a shirt. We hop up in the bed and she's not trying to do anything. She's talking about she's on her period and this and that. I was like, we could work around that. And she says to me, she was just like, if I was going to fuck you, I would have done it last night. And I knew it, but it was great to hear her actually say it. And then she just kind of, I guess she just, from a woman's standpoint, she picked up on the energy. She's like, I have to go. I was like, yeah, you got to go. And she got so mad and she took my shorts off and took the shirt off and, got dressed and all this other stuff. And she had to go outside and wait for an Uber. And she kind of stormed out because I guess she thought like she thought she was that bad. There were other chicks offering themselves to me right in her face, prettier than her. And somehow, some way she convinced herself that she could conquer me. And it doesn't work that way for the sex symbol. You have natural intolerance for stuff like that. See, if a man's not a sex symbol in that scenario, you know how he would have navigated? He would have waited her out. He would have kept pressing her all night, put herself in a dangerous situation, because that next phone call wasn't available to him and it's never available to him. He's happy for whatever piece of pooty that he can get. Nope, I just told her she got to go and she knew it. Women energetically know the movements of the sex symbol. Yeah, she tried me, but she played herself. And she was out, by my car, and I just made sure that she wasn't gonna fuck my car up or nothing like that. And she's like, "I'm not worried about your car and this and that." And she genuinely just was in a strange neighborhood and didn't know anybody. But that was to no fault of my own. I was like, "All right, call your Uber or whatever." And she's like, "Oh, these DC niggas and this and that." Like, she got mad as hell, man. And she just walked across the street. And so I just hit the next girl up and was like, "Hey." And she's like, "Hey." So many words. She's like, "You done with that?" I'm like, "Yeah." And the next thing I know, we're chilling. She comes right over. She parks. We on my balcony, and within seconds, she hopped right on top of me. And that's the reality of the sex symbol man. There's no neutral energy. There's only decisiveness. And that's how the sex symbol man naturally moves in the sea of women. He only deals with decisive energy because that's what's available to him on a regular basis. And there's no recognition of any woman that's in front of him unless she exhibits that energy. This has been Matthew C. Horne, author, motivational speaker, and dating coach. This will bring you a video tonight talking about how the sex symbol man, how he navigates, how he moves through the sea of women. It's brought to you by my books, How to Get Beautiful Women and Everything Else You Want from Life, in addition to How to Be Appealing to Successful Black Men for Black Women. They're both available at my website, www.matthewchorne.com. Get your copies. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and to continue to push me with the algorithm so I can continue to bring you these elevated messages. And if you've been impacted, inspired, if you're better for having encountered my message tonight, whether you're a long-term listener, whether this is whether my channel is something that you've recently come across, or whether this is your first time seeing me. If you've been inspired, if you're better, then drop something in my donation information that's in my video description. I'll never tell you what to donate. Just donate according to how you've been impacted. And I never take a donation lightly. Just know that your donations continue to keep me here in the space, in position to give you this elevated game. I'm giving you the best game in the game, right? So make sure y'all step up and donate, right? Because every time you listen to me, you grow, you get better. So make your donations to my PayPal and my Cash App information that's in my video description. And thank you to everyone who's been donating. I really appreciate you all. If you're in need of coaching, if you have different shortcomings, circular movements, frustrations, and impediments in the dating space, I want you to hit me up for coaching, okay? I can get you through any situation to the other side that is favorable to you in any situation that you're facing with any woman, okay? Email me at matt@matthewchorne.com. Leave your name, leave coaching in the subject matter of the email. Leave your name, your phone number, and whatever issue that you're facing in the dating space. And I'll do an assessment, and then I'll email you back with the terms of the coaching. That's what you leave in the body of the email. Okay, your name, your phone number, and this whatever issue you're facing in the dating space, I'll do the assessment and I'll get right back to you. And once you accept the terms, your life is going to change. Give me 1 hour of your life. I promise you, it's a breakthrough on the other side of it. I'm still looking to fill the remaining slots of the 5 individuals who want to take a year-long coaching journey with me. In the year-long coaching journey with me, I'm going to do an immediate assessment of where you are and where you want to be in the dating space. So you're going to email me and you're going to tell me exactly where you are and where you want to be in the dating space. I'll do my assessment, and then I'm not going to email you back. I'm going to call you. We're going to get on the line. We're going to talk, because once you email me, you put mentorship in the subject matter of the email. And then in the body of the email, you put your name, your phone number, and tell me where you are in the dating space and where you want to be. And then I can do an accurate assessment. And then I'm going to call you, because we're going to be working together for a year potentially. And we're going to get on the line and we're going to decide if we're a good fit to work with one another over the course of a year. And so once, you get the coaching from me, once we begin the coaching, I'm going to begin right where you are. I'm going to do my assessment to see where you are, and incrementally as you improve, that's how the curriculum and coaching is going to progress. It's very personalized. I'm only taking on 5 individuals. And there are some individuals who are already getting the long-term coaching from me, okay? And so you're also going to have 24-hour access to me as well. You can be in any situation with any woman, and I want to get you through it. As you're progressing and you get into coaching from me. Any scenario, you met a woman in a dating app, you have a woman that's losing interest, a woman that you're beginning to like, any sort of advice and coaching that you need. Even the guys I'm doing a long-term coaching with, like they're sending me women's dating profiles and social media profiles. There's, sending me conversations they've had with women, text message exchanges, and I'm giving them in-the-minute guidance, and they're getting favorable outcomes. So I'm yours for a year, Okay. I'm also going to meet up with every person in person at least once. They get this year-long coaching journey, and you're going to get a minimum of 3 coaching calls per week. It's an amazing space for personal growth. And you know, when you're with Matthew C. Horne, who's spitting the best game in the game, you already know what a year of your life is going to look like with me. You're going to be an incredible, elevated man who's unrecognizable. So reach out to me for your year-long coaching journey. And in addition to that, I want everyone to join my school community, my dating coach community. Okay. In my dating coach community, what you're going to get is every Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you get to talk to me for an hour. I do a monologue on a particular topic. We do a live right in the community. I do a monologue, and then the members of the community that are on the live, we're all on video. You all can talk to me about the monologue topic. And then after that, for an hour, you get to ask me whatever you want to ask me about anything in the dating space. I'm your dating coach for an hour. So that's what I want you all to do. I allow members of the community to also give me topics for custom videos that are not on YouTube. So I do have custom videos in the community that are not on YouTube. So community members give me topics, and I make videos on those and put them in the community, as well as come up with my own topics. So I'm constantly inundating the community with material videos that are not on YouTube. And that's a very great benefit of being in the community, is that you can have me to make custom videos for you as well. All those videos are archived. Every live we have is archived as well. So you can join the community and watch over 100 videos. I even have series like Becoming a Sexy Attractive Man. There's different video series in there, kind of like quasi-curriculum, if you want to call it that. There's just a myriad of videos that you can watch and grow exponentially and become that unrecognizable sex symbol man. And you get to talk to me once a week, all right, for an hour. Okay, I answer all your questions. So I want everybody to sign up. My link to sign up for my dating coach community will be in the video description. Lastly, if you want me to make a custom video on any particular topic, just make a donation of $150 or more to my PayPal or my Cash App information that's in my video description. There's a note feature on PayPal and Cash App that appears when you put the dollar amount of the donation. So you type in the dollar amount of the donation, then you fill out the note feature, put the title of the video that you want me to make, and then complete the donation. I'll see the donation, I'll see the note, and I'll have your video on my channel in 24 hours or less. If your video is more nuanced and detailed than just leaving a note, then you go ahead and make the donation, bypass the note feature, and then email me at matt@matthewchorne.com with your more nuanced and detailed description of what you want me to make your video on. And I'll have your video on my channel in 24 hours or less. I've enjoyed spending some time with you all tonight. I just really wanted to talk to you all about the subject matter of how the sex symbol man navigates the sea of women, because he's always in sexual environments, and this is how he moves. This is his reality. And understand that, once again, there's a natural intolerance when women are consistently offering themselves to you, meaning you cannot recognize a woman who's not doing that. You cannot tolerate anything less than that when it becomes your norm, but that's based on the obsessive amount of work that you're doing yourself. Some people are just dealt a hand that they have to moderately enhance, and then they'll be a sex symbol. Some men are dealt a hand that they're going to have to obsessively enhance to reach that level of sex symbol. But once again, I believe there's a sex symbol inside of every man. Every self-sufficient, cerebral, intelligent, thinking man. I believe there's a sex symbol inside him. I think that he can improve his level of attractiveness, that women will recognize him and approach him in a sexual manner and give him sexual offers, if you're willing to implement that level of discipline. It looks different for every man. And so that's why I especially want you all to get with me for coaching on this, because I can take you there. All right, well, that's all I have for you all. I'll be back with you all very soon, and stay close. I'm probably going to go live. This is early Saturday that I'm doing this, so maybe later in Saturday evening, so I want to go live. Hit that notification bell, and people that have been hitting me up and saying they haven't been able to get the alerts for the live. I've done some research. You're going to have to turn on all of your notifications. Like, you can't just subscribe, and hit the notification bell on my channel. Like, in your settings, you're going to have to make sure that you're individually allowing all of the alerts to find you. Okay. So you might have to manually go in and make sure that you're getting all of the alerts. Okay. You individually have to activate them. All right. So just take a look and look at some YouTube videos if you need further clarification, because I don't want to miss the people that want to be on the live with me. But other than that, I'll see you all soon.